Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
And I'm Nancy Radke.
Today we're cooking with Parmigiano Reggiano.
And Prosciutto di Parma.
That's it, real fast, real fast. Come on, get that baseball arm moving.
Oh. Ok.
Okay. Non c'è ketchup.
No. Già vedi, ti fa la foto.
Basta?
Sì.
Sono molto delicati.
Molto delicato. Grazie a lei.
Grazie Mariana, grazie a voi.
You know, my mother's favorite leftover sandwich. Come on, you're Italian. Isn't this beautiful? Look at how pretty this is. It's delicious. How do you like that? I think you're great. And now we're ready to do the twist. So, looks gorgeous, smells wonderful.
I use my hands.
I love this woman. Okay. Nancy, I bet that you and I always have the same ingredients in our refrigerator.
You know, I think you're right. I think we do.
Well, here we have that wonderful Prosciutto di Parma that you asked me to get.
Yep.
And we should tell people that when they buy it, it should be on paper like this, right?
Right, and you always want to get it so that it's separated, not really touching.
Yes.
Because it's so hard to pull off.
To get it off, yeah. So it's separated between paper. And when they buy it, they should really look for what here?
Well, you want to see a nice, pretty, rosy color, and the fat you want to have just maybe a titch of rose in it as well. And I always like to have a little border of fat all the way around.
So we're going to make you some really quick little tidbits, antipasti type things that you
Yes.
can have with wine or company or sitting on the back porch. And the first thing you're going to do is something with figs and kiwi and prosciutto di Parma.
That's right.
So let's get going.
Well, this is one of those wonderful times of year when you can get fresh figs.
Fresh figs, yeah.
Now, you can't always get fresh figs, but when you can't get fresh figs, I like to do this also with kiwi. And what you want to look for is a really nice, juicy, ripe fruit. That's the best thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of these slices of prosciutto di Parma, and we're going to wrap the figs or the kiwi in the prosciutto di Parma.
Oh, that's a good idea. But you know, it reminds me so much that even though these kiwi might seem like it might be strange for people to use because they don't think of it a lot in Italian cooking,
Right.
they actually grow a lot of kiwi in Emilia-Romagna. Did you know that?
They grow
Yeah.
a ton of
Yeah.
kiwi in Emilia-Romagna. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
So you're just wrapping the figs up.
Just wrapping, making little bundles.
Okay.
You don't have to be particularly neat. You don't have to use toothpicks or any kind of complicated holding tool because we're going to cook these in a
Yes.
little bit of butter and
Okay,
olive oil.
I've got your butter and olive oil going right here in this little pan.
And while you're doing it, this is the easiest appetizer in the world. I would say that would be one portion. Okay, that would be what you would serve one person. So
Okay.
2 figs and 2 slices of prosciutto di Parma is what we used, and just cook them in a little butter. And then to present this, we are going to take and put some snow, a little bit of a snow of Parmigiano Reggiano on this plate.
I like that image.
Yeah, well, this is one of those beautiful microplanes, and to me, this just looks like snow. And what's
pretty.
going to be fun about this dish is that the warmth of the prosciutto
Gonna stick to that,
is
right?
going to make this stick to it.
I think this is ready.
It looks good to me.
There's-
And you just set it right down onto the snow.
Am I doing this right?
You do it.
I
It's
wanna make
perfect.
sure
I want a little bit of caramelization of
which
the
we
prosciutto di
have.
Parma.
That looks good.
And then you can serve this with a fork as an individual platter.
Yep.
Or you could make it for a crowd and put some little picks into it so that people can pick these up.
It's so fast. It's very nice. That's a beautiful presentation. And I see how the cheese is clinging right to that. That's great. That's a great idea.
And it's fast, it's easy, and it's something truly delicious that really showcases
Well, we're
these
going to be
beautiful
eating
products.
those later, but I would have that with a glass of white wine, wouldn't you?
I would.
All
Something
right.
sparkling, perhaps.
Oh, maybe a Prosecco?
A little Prosecco would
A
be
little
wonderful.
Prosecco would be good. All right,
Yes.
well, I don't know how I'm going to top you, but I'm going to try.
All right, okay, a little kitchen competition here, right?
It's the duel of the artisan products in the kitchen today. So I'm going to start in a little saute pan, too.
All right, let me take this off for
And what
you.
we're going to do is make some cheese wafers with Parmigiano Reggiano. So I just grate it up, And you want to do this in equal amounts, so, you know, cup for cup.
Okay.
So that's about a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano grated. And then I like to use just sliced almonds for this.
Looks good.
Yeah, so in they go. And you just mix this together. Now, we know that there is enough fat in this cheese that I do not need to put anything in the pan, right?
Right.
So we mix this up well. And then you get a non-stick pan going.
Okay.
That's really important. You get a non-stick pan going.
You know, this kind of reminds me of making a frico, but with a
bit
more interest by having the almonds
by
in
having the almonds, which gives this nice little crunch and texture. So you take about a quarter of a cup. You could use more if you wanted to make them larger. And I just put them in a pan like that and just spread them out, like you're making a pancake almost.
Exactly.
So you spread them out. So use a big enough pan if you're going to do, you know, a lot of these, so you can do 3 or 4 at a time. You don't want them to melt into each other. So I just press them down like that. And I wait until the cheese begins to melt and the edges start to get a little bit brown. And then I can take them out and you let them cool on a cooling rack. And you can make piles of these. And then you can just put them in a container.
Okay.
And then you have them whenever you want them.
Can you keep them for a while?
You can keep them for about a week, I would say. About a week. But they're not going to last very long, I can tell you that. Because
I doubt that. How can you go wrong?
Yeah.
Two simple ingrents combined in a unique sort of way.
So you watch this now, and it's best to use a non-stick spatula. You don't want to take them out too soon. The temptation is to take them out, to turn them, but don't do it. Wait until the cheese starts to melt. So we should really tell them that this is not a caloric cheese, because this is really made with skim milk, partial skim milk.
Part skim milk,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact.
So
it's
really
not a whole fat cheese.
Right, so it's really very good for you.
It is. And that's also why it can be aged for so long.
Can I have this piece?
Yes, you can. How's it taste? I think that was a February cheese.
That's delicious.
Winter cheese. You know, every season of the year has a little bit different flavor profile.
So you just be patient with these, because you want to be able to lift, and I can tell that I can't take them out yet. So while I'm watching these, let's tell them what you're going to do next.
Okay, well, we're going to make a very, very simple spread that is something that's really nice, full of protein. It's made with fava beans.
Oh, I love
What to do is we are going to take and make a fava bean spread.
Okay, so why don't you bring that over here
All
so
right.
they can see. Bring that over here. All right, let me get this out of your way.
We could probably to talk a little bit about fava beans.
I love fava beans because, first of all, they're healthy for you. Secondly, you know, it's a very Italian thing to eat fava beans raw.
It is, with a little bit of
pecorino
cheese, and that's fresh pecorino cheese.
That's right.
And a glass of Morellino wine from Tuscany.
Oh my gosh,
so good.
There, okay.
So good.
All right.
So there's the fava bean.
Right.
And what you do is you open these things up and string them out.
Okay, you see these?
They look beautiful.
Aren't they nice?
Look at this one. Look how golden that is. And even the almonds get toasted as well.
They get toasted, and as I say, you just make a whole bunch of these. And then
I'm anxious to try that. That looks really good.
All right, so sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
That's okay, no problem.
So fava beans.
So fava beans. So here we have the fava beans. They're in this nice little cushy shell. And the fava beans would, if you were using the fresh ones, would have to be boiled first.
Right.
Before you could use them. You'd have to cook them in boiling water for about 6 to 8 minutes until they're nice and tender.
Or you could buy them frozen.
Yes, that's right. Or if you could buy them frozen. And if for some reason you can't find fava beans.
Yeah. I know what you're going to say.
I know it hurts your Italian heart, but you can use edamame, which is another wonderful bean.
All right.
But you're just using a green bean.
Well, couldn't you use lima beans?
You could use lima beans.
Okay.
Certainly. You could use any kind of bean.
All right. So you boiled them.
So we've boiled them.
And we took the outer skin off, right?
Yes, you need to take the outer skin of these. After they're boiled, you can do that.
Yeah.
Now, these are done.
Yes, those are done.
But you want to take that off because it's a little bitter.
Right, and it's also greener inside. So you have a double layer of skin there. Okay, so I'm watching. Go ahead.
Okay. So in goes the fava beans.
Well, wait a minute. Let me move this over for you so you can bring that over so they can see it. So. Oh, we have so much stuff.
We have so many things we're trying to do here.
Let me move this stuff.
And you know what? I think I'm going to need some silken tofu, too.
Okay, all right. Silken tofu. That's very Eastern, so I'm anxious to see how this goes. All right.
You are suspicious, aren't you?
No, I'm willing.
You're willing.
I'm
willing
willing
to learn. She says,
Okay.
I'm willing to learn.
All right, so now we have the fava beans. How many? Do we have a cup and a half?
We have 12 ounces.
12 ounces, okay.
It's a good, abundant cup and a half, I would say. And we are going to put in there, oh, I know, some prosciutto di Parma.
Prosciutto di Parma. Okay, chopped up.
Chopped up.
I
Do
know.
you have some?
I'm going to get that for you.
Okay, great. And while Mary Ann's getting that, I'm going to also put in some Parmigiano Reggiano, a nice, abundant cup.
So we should tell them, that prosciutto di Parma is not just for eating like that. You cook with it. You
Right.
can use it in stuffings.
I think that the really important thing is when you're cooking with prosciutto di Parma, you want to make sure that you only just barely warm it.
Yeah.
You don't want to like really cook it hard. You want to just warm it a little bit. So you can use it as a filling. It's also used, remember, it's always used in tortellini.
Tortellini filling.
You have to have
Absolutely.
it in tortellini. So in goes some just roughly chopped prosciutto di Parma. We have Parmigiano Reggiano. We have the fava beans in here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're going to add a little bit of wasabi.
Wasabi. Okay.
That's a Japanese horseradish.
Yes, I like that, but just in small
It
increments.
gives it a little bit of an
Little
interesting
hotness.
zing,
Yep,
a little
okay.
hotness, which I think is very nice. Now, if you've never used wasabi, you're going to want to get the powder, and the powder you just sprinkle out
In a
into
little
a bowl
bowl.
like this, and just add a little water to it.
Okay, so now we add all of that wasabi?
Yeah, about a teaspoon and a half.
Okay,
All right.
all
We
right.
want a little zip.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And we're going to add about a quarter of a teaspoon of salt.
All right.
Get the little
Switch
like
that
sale
one over.
marino you have
Oh,
here.
I'm gonna
Is
have
that
to
true?
eat. I'm gonna have to eat this one. It didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it to.
All right.
But
okay. That's always the
That's the
prerogative
best
of the
part.
cook. Yeah. All right, and then a little bit of pepper. Okay.
Uh-huh. All right, I saw
And
that. Yes.
We're going to put in about a teaspoon's worth of lemon juice
So all this goes in the food processor.
into the food processor.
Okay, good. That makes it easy.
Okay. And I think I have everything in here that I need. So all I need is the top to this. And where did you put it? Over there.
All right. I'll get that for you. Here we go.
Great, thanks. And we are going to cook.
How smooth should that be?
We're going to do about 3. It'll never get smooth because the skin of the fava beans is always going to give
Okay.
it a little bit of a grit, and also the cheese. But we're going to do maybe 3 30-second pulses,
Okay.
just until it starts to really turn into a paste almost. Okay, now you get that a little bit ground up, and we're going to add to this some silken tofu. Now, this is a wonderful, creamy, it's very high in protein, but it makes a lovely creamy base for our dip.
Right. It's healthy too.
It's very healthy.
Okay,
In fact,
get
there's
that.
really no fat in this whole dish. These are very, very high in protein.
That's going to make that smooth and that's
Do you
a
see the
pre-
difference
yeah,
already?
It's a pretty color.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's a very pale color. And that's all we have to do.
All right. That's it. Did we add the honey?
No, the honey gets drizzled at the end.
Okay,
So
at the
if
end.
you take that away,
I will.
and if you would go into the oven. Oh,
Yeah.
we have it already here.
What do you need?
Our crostini with
Yes,
Parmigiano
I
Reggiano.
did them ahead of time for
Oh,
you.
good. Thank you.
Here they are.
How'd
and
you do these?
Well, we put a little bit of olive oil on them and put them in the oven and just bake them, 350, just till they were nice and crusty.
Right.
Crostini in Italian means little toasts, right?
Right.
So you really want to use a good baguette, something that has a nice crumb to it, right?
Yes, yes.
So a baguette like this is good. And if you wanted to use a whole wheat baguette, you could do that too.
Absolutely.
Right, so
They
we
just
have them cut
these are
up.
just basic, lovely little cheese toasts. You can use them in all kinds of different ways.
Right, okay.
All right, now what we will do.
Okay. Let me move
Is-
some of this out of the way for you. So you
All
can-
right.
Okay, now what?
We need a little spreader,
Uh-huh, okay, a little spreader.
and you can either serve this as a dip.
How about
in
a
a bowl.
spoon?
Spoon is good.
Okay.
Just take a little bit of your mixture. And just spread it right on here,
I'll give you a little dish for that.
just like this. I have served this with a lovely little tomato soup,
That looks nice.
or with just as it is. And I have 2 ways that I like to serve it.
Uh-huh.
I like to make a little fan of prosciutto di Parma and perhaps
Okay.
put that on top.
All right.
So all we have to do is tear off a small piece of prosciutto di Parma.
Prosciutto di Parma over here. Okay. All right, here you go.
Just take a little piece like this. You don't need too much.
And you make a little fan. Or you could just drape a slice, couldn't you?
You could drape a slice right
Yeah.
over it too. You could make a little fan like this on it.
That's pretty.
Sticks to it just like that. Or the other way I like it, and this is a nice flavor contrast because you have all the savory Prosciutto di Parma in there and you have the savory Parmigiano Reggiano. You can also just take and drizzle a little bit of honey onto it
That looks good.
as another way.
So use a good honey for this,
serving,
right?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh. Wow. We haven't even broken out into a sweat yet, have we?
No, and I think we still have more things to make.
Yes, we do. Okay, so there are two beautiful looking antipasti that you can have. And now, I think we deserve a panini, don't you?
I think so too. Do we get to eat this?
We deserve a panini. So I'm going to bring over my panini machine, but look at how nice these have crisped up now. They're nice and crispy, and they're just perfect with a glass of wine. So I'm going to put those there. And you can have this one,
Ooh, those look
Nancy,
good.
because it's not exactly perfect, but but you
They
see
take
how
taste.
beautiful they are, and they're different.
Oh, they're good.
Aren't they good? Okay, now let me bring over my panini machine because, boy, in Italy, panini are all the rage, aren't they? And this is a panini machine, but if you don't have one, you could also do this in a regular saute pan. So what I need is some prosciutto, just like you, prosciutto di Parma, and we're going to cut up some bread slices. So here I have made, before you came over, I made some pane siciliano. Doesn't that look nice? And I'm going to cut that. Or you can cut this for me.
All right.
Stop eating and come over here and help me.
I'm going to get you your Prosciutto di Parma.
You really want to do this with good bread. You don't want to use bread that isn't artisan bread because
And
these...
you made this.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So let's cut this on the diagonal with a bread knife.
Oh, that smells so good.
Let's see. Get your bread knife here.
Okay.
And I'll make one for you and one for me.
All right.
And all I do is I've grated up some Parmigiano
Oh, isn't that lovely?
Reggiano. Isn't that pretty? It's got a nice yellow color to it because of the durum semolina that we used. So I'm going to put those four slices actually I need, on a plate.
All right.
And we take the bottom slice and just spread a nice base. This is your snowstorm that you were talking about,
Exactly.
your little...
Different kind of snowstorm.
Yeah, this is a different kind. I didn't even know you were going to do that, but this is my idea, my version of this. So a nice bed of that. And I've got 4 slices, right? Where's the prosciutto di Parma?
is right here.
Okay. And then we want to put a nice slice or 2 of prosciutto di Parma on top of the cheese. This is my version of the ultimate ham and cheese sandwich with these 2 fabulous products. So I like to put two slices on, put the top on, and now we're going to do another one. So put one there.
Here we go.
And here is, again,
This couldn't be simpler.
it's very simple, very simple. And if you wanted to put a few little herbs in with that, you could, but it really doesn't need it because these products just speak for themselves, right?
They do. They do. They're really sister products. You know.
They really are.
Born in the same region.
Yes.
In northern central Italy, they have a synergy about them. I
They
think.
do. And I think if you visit Italy, you should try these products when you are in Emilia-Romagna for sure, but anywhere in Italy. So now we have, oh, that's a big one.
That is a
so
big one.
now we put them on the panini maker, and we put the top gently down, just like that. And we allow this to cook just until we have some really nice grill marks on there. So while they're cooking, while they're getting nice and crusty, we ought to say something about the cheese, don't you think?
Okay.
Tell them about
A little bit about the ham, too, yeah.
How should we store that cheese, do you think?
Well, this cheese is aged at room temperature, but once you open it, you absolutely have to cover it and refrigerate it because air is the enemy.
Air is the enemy, yes.
Air is the enemy.
So what do you wrap it in? I put it in plastic wrap.
Yes, and I always change the plastic wrap after every time I bring it out.
No, that's
and
a
use
good
it.
tip. That's a very good tip. Yeah, now when you use this cheese up, what can you do with the rind? I'm going to check my panini, see what we're doing.
Take a look at that.
Yeah.
Well, the rind you can use in a lot of different ways.
Ooh, they're coming good.
You can take it and I like to take the whole piece, like a nice block like this, and just throw it into minestrone soup.
Right.
While it's cooking and bubbling.
I've done that.
The cheese gets soft, and then you take it out and you cut it into little bean-sized pieces, put it back into the soup, and all of a sudden you get these interesting cheesy tidbits. They're sort of surprising because you can't tell them from the beans that may be in the soup.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too.
Okay, all right. I think these are ready to come out.
Oh,
so
good.
let
Here,
me
I'll
move
take-
this
okay.
over. And here are our beautiful looking
Oh, that's
panini now.
perfect.
And you can cut those.
Oh, and your bread is just so lovely.
Oh, this deserves good bread. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful
All right.
meltiness in there.
Now, let me cut this one. Nancy, I don't think we could have done any better in the kitchen with these products, do you?
No, I don't think so. And lots of easy and fast ways to use them.
So let's eat. There
Let's
you
eat.
have it. Wonderful things you can do with Prosciutto di Parma.
And Parmigiano Reggiano.
Now, Nancy, here's what you can do with a hollowed out half wheel of Parmigiano Reggiano once you've used it.
A natural container for 10 pounds of tortellini.
Tortellini. Beautiful.
Makes a great party dish.
It sure does. Let's tell them what else we did today.
All good party dishes.
Yeah.
We also made some figs and kiwis wrapped in prosciutto di Parma on a snow of Parmigiano Reggiano.
Beautiful. And then I made the Parmigiano Reggiano wafers with almonds, equal portions, and just put them in a frying pan until they got nice and brown. They're nice and cracker-like and perfect with a glass of wine.
Also would make a great gift.
A great hostess gift. You'll get some later.
Good.
And then you did.
And then I made a fava bean spread filled with prosciutto di Parma, Parmigiano Reggiano, perfect for spreading on little crostini with some crispy Parmigiano Reggiano baked right in, and maybe a little fan of prosciutto di Parma on top, or just spread as is.
And you taught me that East meets West. And then I did the panini, the perfect ham and cheese sandwich made with grated Parmigiano Reggiano and Prosciutto di Parma. You and I worked hard, and we
did.
deserve a toast.
We do.
Nancy, chin chin.
To us and Emilio Romagna.
And until I see you, Nella Cucina, again, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
And I'm Nancy Radke.
Ciao.
Ciao. Today, I'm on my way to watch cheese being made. And in the Piemonte, there are hundreds of different cheeses, both fresh and aged cheese. And today we're going to see how Tuma is made, a very fresh cheese. In the small town of Bossolasco in the Langhe region of the Piemonte, the morning milking is finished at Azienda Agricola Montero Biglio, and it's time for cows to rest. And it's time for Marisa Giordano to go to work. She is a master cheesemaker, and Tuma is her family specialty. The cow's milk has curdled and now is ready to be cut into smaller and smaller pieces. Then her husband Paolo will churn it until the curds are ready to be packaged. Tuma cheese has a light, delicate taste when fresh, and a nutty, more mellow taste as it ages. After they finish this part of their work, Marisa shows us around the farm before inviting us in for the best part of this visit, a tasting party that includes all the different kinds of cheeses they make, plus wine to go with it. A perfect ending to a perfect morning in Piemonte.